Hi, my name is Chris and I welcome you to another 20-minute draft. Let's get right into it. My first pack shows me a Failed and Mighty, not a very good Wrath effect. Unscrupulous Contractor and a Slice Sequence at Knife Point and Earther Joe. I was very intrigued with the at Knife Point at my first sighting of it. It's like my third draft, but decided for a first pick that the monocolored card is just better. Very strong effect, of course, to plot it and later sack a creature. My second pick, I see a Skewer, the Pet, not very strong, and the Baron, Bathram. Seems very good. A Blood Hustler, which can commit a crime on its own for just 4 mana every turn. Only 2 mana. Yeah, very good card, but at Knife Point was so intriguing to me, and it worked very well with both my first and second pick, so I decided to go for it and pick it up here. I didn't really regretted it, but rewatching this draft, I think the Hustler would have been better. The Coyote was very impressive in my first draft. This is like my third, and I pick it up. I think it's very good. The Lawbringer really works well with my deck so far. Some nice synergies, and it can sack like other creatures. So I try to find weak creatures that can be sacked, like the Linebreaker, Nizumi Linebreaker. Pick up the Dead Eye Duelist, also very good with the at Knife Point, committing a crime every turn, and a Terminal Agony helps staying alive, just a removal spell. Works with the Peddler that can discard a card to draw one. Get an Earther Joe, a Desert, and a Knife Point. I want to pick up the whole pack and go to the next one. Of course I can, so I pick up the Knife Point. Here I have a Lidenbreaker. There's some other cards which I will cut in the end. I'll still show those. But the Linebreaker, the best pick in these last couple of picks. Archmage's Charm and Ruckus joins up, not really for my deck. So I pick up the Sharpshooter, much better. I decided, I always think about picking up rares in the beginning of a format. The Green Mythic Rand, Roxanne are interesting. Roxanne actually pretty strong, but the Earther Joe just is in my colors, and I don't want to go 4 colors without having any fixing so far at all. So the Earther Joe works great anyway. I have the 2 at Knife Points, which make creatures with activated abilities. The Linebreaker leaves behind 1. It just works great in my deck. The Rush of Dread seems strong. But in the end I will cut it because I find a lot more removal spells like the Murder here, and the Lawbringer in this pack will actually wheel. Pick up my Peddler to have another cheap creature that can be sacked for my Lawbringer or the Contractor. Wilderness Wealth, very fun card, but the Rakish Crew is just so much better in this deck. I have quite a outlaw synergies at this point. Pick up a Trick Shot instead of the cheaper removal because it's red, not white. We'll cut it in the end to stay cheap. Vanishing Worst, same thing. Robber interesting, but at this point I don't have damage removal, so I pick up the Explosive Derailment instead and wheel my Lawbringer. Awesome. My last pack, I get a Magda. Also triggers when committing a crime, making a treasure. That helps fix for my White Splash. And I can sack 3 treasures to make a 4/4 Flying Haste. The Duelist also interesting, but yeah, the Magda, too much potential for me to say no. Pitiless Carnage, interesting card, but I don't have that many cheap creatures to sack at this point. The Knife Point also interesting, but I am disciplined and pick up my fixing. Of course, the Desert's great by committing crimes and playing them. I will Devil over Attack for a ride, even if it has some synergies. I think I can wheel it. Probably not that great in most decks. Pick up a Consuming Ashes over Silver Deputy and another Derailment, even if it's double black. Of course, it's quite dangerous in these 3 color decks. And another Linebreaker, just better than another Coyote or other cards. Some alright Mythic Rare and Uncommon, they're interesting. But I pick up the Mine Raider because I want to have treasures. Works with the Magda, fixes mana a bit, and pick up another one, though I will cut one in the end. And the last few picks are only the Peddler and other stuff I will cut. So that's pretty much the deck. except for the Take for Ride, which is very important in my deck. So yeah, game 1, I keep a sketchy opening hand, just a bit sketchy. I can't play anything in my hand really, except the Threaten effect, but if I draw a Swamp or a Peddler or Magda, I think I have a lot of my deck to play. I draw the Swamp, so I get lucky and can plot my Scrupulous Contractor. Also draw a Lawbringer, so I'm ready to steal the creature and sack it for my Contractor or the Lawbringer later in the game. To drop a Wolverine, finding only a Salvo, which I can't play this turn. I haven't played anything. They form a Posse instead, making 2 1/1s, and I steal the creature and offer the trade. I don't want to trade, which I'm also happy with, probably even happier, and draw my 2 cards with the Contractor, finding another Lawbringer and a Nezumi Linebreaker to sack for one of those. Use a quick draw to eat my Contractor. I don't mind really at this point losing my 3/2 for combat trick, and I don't play anything else. Drop the Linebringer and of course don't sack it yet, just to get rid of one of their 1/1s. I return the Wolverine with the Pegasus and drop some boots. They're a bit scary, making my removal spells more expensive. Yeah. Use the Lawbringer to get rid of the Pegasus. They drop the Wolverine again get unlucky, finding a 4-mana Etherjo, very strong card, which I can't play because of the mana. They get rid of my Lawbringer, I trade my 1/1 for theirs, just want to stay alive. Use the Consuming Ashes to surveil, both cards are very good that are revealed. And yeah, I just plot the Coyote for next turn, taking another 2 damage. They haven't had the chance to play too many good removal spells, so they have another one in the hand when I play my Coyote for the Baron. So we both pretty much only destroying each other's stuff at this point. I trade my 2/2 for the 1/1. And the Armadillo is actually quite scary at this point. Okay, pumped up almost twice in a turn, so I remove it rather quickly. I draw my Joe, get a 1/1 Outlaw, and they use a Bovine Intervention to make it into a 2/2, which still is somewhat dangerous for them because they don't have any creatures on the board. I get in for 3 every turn from now on, unless they find something else to block those with. The Duelist is also good in case I draw Magda or at knife point, one of those 2. And yeah, they keep taking my 3 damage and 1 at the end of turn. They draw a 3-run, but I kill it with the Murder when they equip it, or so I thought, but I have to return the Favor, copying the Murder and redirecting it with the extra spree cost, getting rid of my Duelist and the 2/2, also getting in for 4. So I didn't know that Uncommon existed at this point. Very strong effect. Of course, the situation has to work in that way, like it did here. I dropped the Magda after committing the crime, which is why I said, oops, I could have had a treasure. And here I'm a bit hasty to use my Bedevil for the 2/1 only, but I wanted to get in, and they're only on 1, so not too bad probably. Yeah, they're done for, they concede 1-0. Game 2, my opening hand looks much better. I have the Magda, Coyote, Take for a Ride, and all of my manas. For that I only have a couple of Treasure Makers and 1 Desert. I really get quite lucky with my mana draws most of the time. Drop the Peddler, cycle a Plains for another card, and play a Magda and a Desert to get my first treasure. They have the mana elf, so to speak, and can play a 4/2 on the next turn with the Grizzly, Drover Grizzly. I attack, want to make the pressure, even if they have a 4-power creature. I just think with the potential of having a Dragon Flyer, I don't mind trading 2 for 4. Drop the Baron. And they have a Wily Duke, which is pretty awesome with in the Saddle deck. They can draw a card and gain 1 life when settling. And they get in for 4, drawing a card. I get rid of the 4/2, or so I thought. At least I get a Vampire and a Treasure of the Magda and the Baron, but I have the Snakeskin Veil to protect their creature. But still, I attack. I don't want to block their 4-2 or their 5-3 with any of my creatures, except the 1-1 to buy me a lot of time. And they drop a Cactantula. But with a take for a ride, they really get frustrated with that value and concede already, even if they weren't dead quite yet. So I'm 2-0, game 3, the first hand is a bit sketchy again, but I have the Magda and the Coyote, so I do want to keep it in case I find removal, just a swamp. I have the knife points, so very interesting and potentially powerful. Don't draw another land, but the Coyote lets me get in for 5 on turn 3. And that's quite a bit of treasure. Then drop a Naturalist, finding them a forest, and milling some cards. I do find my swamp, which was lucky, of course, to finally find it, and not a Plains First or something like that, or a tapped land. So I can drop my knife point, and next turn use a removal while they keep on ramping. Quite scary, of course, but I attack them for some more damage than they're already down to 11. But they drop a massive rare, which I can murder, but which also leaves behind a 7/7 cow, or whatever the number of lands is they have. But I get another treasure token with the murder and the Magda, and drop the duelist to commit a crime every turn from now on, so I can jump their cow. Another naturalist is good on defense, and the paladin gains some life, so they can attack with the cow, but I just jump block. I have enough tokens in my future with the second knife point. Actually draw a Ruthless Lawbringer to exile their cow, and again committing a crime, having 1 mana open for my duelist in their turn to committing another crime. Yeah, the player Kellen joins up. Not very good, those join up cards, most of them. And yeah, they're on 14, while I have 4/4 Flying Scorpion Dragon next turn. So I don't mind trading one of my tokens and the Lawbringer. Oh no, actually the Coyote for the 5/4, even if they have a combat trick. They bounced their Paladin. I don't know why they don't want to lose it. I think they should have possibly bounced my Coyote. But yeah, commit another crime, get another treasure, make my Vampire Dragon with the Magda, and pump up the Coyote to get through the Naturalist. They can't really block my Lawbringer because of the first strike, and they trade for my Coyote. So they're down to 4 already though. Looks pretty bad. The next turn is impressive, or would have been. Dropping the Paladin again, a 3/3, the Possum, and the last card. But yeah, with a Rakish Crew, I didn't even need that. Can just pump up my Scorpion Dragon with my Outlaws from all the committing a crime. And yeah, they're dead. 3-0. Game 4, I have a nice opening hand with all of my colors. Contractor, removal spell, Linebreaker. I draw a Lawbringer as well, so I can decide to either draw cards or get rid of their permanent if they have something scary on turn 3. But I actually miss a land drop. So I decide to go for the card draw, getting an Outlaw instead of my 1/1 red. And yeah, they need to discard because they again missed a land drop. Can use a removal spell for my 3/2, but after I drop a duelist and they apparently draw another non-land, they concede. So a short game 4. Game 5, I have a Lawbringer in hand, but other than that I can play all of my cards. I drop the Nezumi and I'm ready to use the Peddler next turn. In this case, discarding a mountain for another one. And they start with a white-green desert, dropping another desert next turn. So already jealous of their mana. I draw my desert as well, so I have good mana too. I couldn't use to commit the crime, but yeah, it's alright. They have the dog and actually traded for my 2/2. Apparently they think they have the best late game of the two of us. They might be right, but I have a lot of removal spells, so their 3/4 will get removed next turn. Also did drop an island, so they're all 5 colors, but they show me some more mana fixing, so I don't think it looks too greedy at this point. I, however, am actually sacking the creature to get rid of the mana fixer. I'm more afraid of the ramping than the mana fixing at this point when I look at the lands. But I also get in for quite a bit of damage this way. And yeah, of course, I wanted to clear the board anyways. Go down to 10 and don't play anything. Instead just plotting a Loan Shark. Preparing for a good turn next turn, and with a Geralf, Flashright, and the Loan Shark, they get another 2/2, draw a card. But being only on 4 life, the Rakish Crew, which I draw, and my 2 Outlaws mean if they drop those, they will be drained for 2. So my Sharpshooter is actually lethal in combination with that. They either block or don't, they die. So game 6 already. I take my first mulligan, maybe my second. Keep the second hand, looks pretty good. I have the Swarm, the Linebreaker, the Rakish Crew, and if I find another black, another removal spell. I draw Earther Joe and drop the Rakish Crew on turn 3. Pretty nice to have the Outlaw with the Nezumi. And they drop the Vermint, or Vermint, whatever it's called, that can kill my crew. I'm not happy about that, but of course they also kind of want to trade possibly. But with the at knife point it will be difficult to trade because my Outlaws have first strike. So I get in for quite a bit of damage with the Nezumi and the Earther Joe, which lets all of my Outlaw tokens trigger twice. They jump to draw a card and gain 1 life, but are already on 12. I also missed a land drop, like my last opponent, and find a tether to at least get rid of my strong uncommon. Now make a big mistake. I was a bit greedy. I dropped the Linebreaker and then realized, okay, I can't steal their creature and sack it to destroy the tether this turn. I kind of was thinking they probably are so low on mana that they will use all of it next turn as well, but I should have really used it in that turn, and we will see. He blocks my 4/1 first strike and gets rid of the knife point, and my opportunity to use my take for right is gone. So I will be able to use it again, of course, but the perfect situation would have been to use it right there. I played 2 more saddle creatures, so the Griffin gets quite big and gets or has lifelink, so they gain a couple of life now back to 12. But they're still under quite a bit of pressure for my Outlaws to pump my Miner in this case. Already down to 6. They play a Bounding Felder, a quite interesting card. I let him crew or I guess saddle before I play the Bedevil. The Bounding Felder has saddle 2, and if it's attacking or if it attacks, you put a +1/+1 count on all your creatures. And also gain a life for those, so it's quite a good steal. Even if I can't sack it to the Lawbringer, I get in for 9 damage, or actually 10 damage, and pump up all my little creatures. They can jump block and go to 1, but yeah, play a Possum, but that's it. They can't block all of my creatures, and they're dead. So I'm 6-0. Game 7, I have again all of my mana, so it looks good. Great. They drop 2 creatures before I have 1, but I'm not worried too much. I have a Miner in hand, but keep it, because next turn I can use the long horn Sharpshooter to get rid of their Death Toucher, and the turn after I will be able to play the Sharpshooter and also get my treasure with the Mine Rider. While they increase the pressure already, putting me down to 11. But like I planned, my turn works out. And I have 2 big creatures in the treasure. They use a removal spell for my 3/3. I could have used it before attacking, I guess, but yeah, didn't matter. Earther Joe makes another blocker and can block their 3/2. And with my removal spells in hand, I feel pretty safe from combat tricks, but I actually have a removal spell, not a combat trick. So I can at least trade with the Murder. Still under quite a bit of pressure. Stealing the 1/1 isn't fantastic, but because I get the 1/1 Outlaw, it definitely seems worth it. And drawing some more cards. Yeah, it's really still a pretty good turn. Now they're only down to 11. They do use Abrupt Decay for my 3/2 minor. But with another at knife point, I can also drop the Nezumi and removing their 1/3 Death Touch, getting another 1/1. I really can't see a future where I lose this game. Of course, unless they drop a Harvester of Misery. Gives all the creatures -2/-2 on opponent's side, and they can also discard it to give 1 -2/-2. I draw a knife point, kill their 5/4. I still have a chance. I can trade for the Beaver hopefully next turn, but I have a Raise the Dead effect to get back their Misery, and I draw land. So I just concede the game is over. I'm 6-1. So game 8, I take another mulligan, not a great hand, but the second one looks nice. I don't have 2 black or black and white, the same hand yet. Ditch the Take for Right, even if it's a good card. Can't risk it being stuck in my hand. I drop a Prairie Dog and I only drop at knife point. Very strong, of course, this early. Every time I commit a crime, I get a 1/1. And I do commit a crime next turn with the Agony, getting rid of the Prairie Dog. It's pretty scary so early. They miss, in my opinion, the block definitely, and get rid of the knife point right away. I draw some cards and find my white eventually to play my white and black cards. Also the Swamp, so I can play my double black cards. So get lucky with these draws. Drop the Baron, which hasn't done much in this draft because, of course, it has a big target on its head, and in this case as well, they remove it with a tether right away. I played an Nezumi Linebreaker and the Lawbringer to get rid of the Felidar, scary card. We've seen it before. Yeah, we're already at 22 minutes. I try to make these videos actually 20 minutes, but there's always something I can't cut. I hope you still enjoy these. Get rid of the Holy Cow too early before they finish the scry. Was a bit eager there. And the Naturalist maybe gets unlucky, milling 3 spells. I kind of like the card, but it always seems to mill the best cards in my deck when I use it. Get rid of it because I want the Survey more than anything, but also, of course, keeping up the pressure when they have no other blockers is nice. Cycle the Armadillo for a second green, they couldn't play it. Gaining a bit of life, it's bad for them. I only have a 2/1 and a Cactacula, which is great, of course, but with my Bedevil on top, they don't have enough blocker for my attack. Give me the GG at the end. Very nice ending for this draft. It's 7-1, was quite a nice Outlaw deck. I hope you enjoyed too, and check out my other drafts. Bye.